Now that is the BMW iX3, and it is the biggest car that BMW has launched in the last 20 years. Now, not literally the biggest, of course, it's about the size of an X3, but it is one of the most important. Let me tell you why. I'm Jordan, and you're watching Auto Express. Okay, so why is the BMW iX3 so important? Well, if you've kind of been in the sort of sphere of BMW's media activities over the last few years, you'll have heard the term Neue Klasse. And Neue Klasse is effectively a complete rethink of how they build their cars from the ground up. And this is the first one. So from the outside, the first thing that really strikes you is that this looks quite different to lots of other BMWs. It's got a much cleaner sort of look. That front end with those sort of enclosed headlights and sort of glowy grille are all brand new and look very, very slick. Around the back, everything is very tight and lean. We've got those really nice thin LED taillights. It all looks very, very high class. Then we come to the interior. This is where this isn't just new for BMW. This feels new for any car in general, because the whole digital interface is dominated by a brand new feature called the panoramic iDrive. And now what that is effectively is a very, very wide heads-up display that sits at the base of the windscreen. And that tells you all the information that you would usually find in an instrument cluster. So we've got things like our speed, our battery, our range, any of the sort of speed and sign recognition areas. We also then have this massive touchscreen that sits right by the steering wheel. And it works brilliantly. Now, of course, we always moan about the fact that lots of modern cars don't have any physical controls, and this one doesn't really have many. We've got a physical gear selector here and a volume knob down here in the center console, and also our demisters. They're very handy to have down there. But things like the basic air conditioning controls and all of the active safety are all integrated to the screen. But I don't mind it. It's actually okay. The software feels so well thought out and executed that it really doesn't feel like a problem. I'm going to contradict myself again by saying that this car has some haptic controls on the steering wheel, and I don't mind them. Now, there's a fundamental reason why I don't mind them. Because of this sort of slightly strange design, you actually don't touch the controls accidentally at all. The other thing as well is that the overall design of this cabin is really brilliant. It feels absolutely contemporary. It's got really nice materials, the door cards, nothing is particularly like luxurious. This is, remember, not an ultra luxury car. It's a 60-something thousand pound family car, and it absolutely feels good for it. Seats are very comfortable, and also storage is generally really good. We've got a couple of wireless chargers here, a couple of cup holders. We've got sort of a bridge, so a space underneath various bits and pieces. The door pockets are nice and large. Rear seat space is very good for the class. It's got loads of legroom, but also it has a completely flat floor, which means that you can fit 3 abreast, no problem. Also, those large windows really do help with sort of that sense of airiness as well. So even though you do have to pay extra for the panoramic sunroof, I don't think you really need it. The boot space is big. We've got a nice sort of flat load bay. We've got a little bit of storage underneath, but there is somewhere else for the cables, which is excellent, which is under the nose. That is very useful. So just quickly, whilst I have you, did you know that you can actually buy and sell your car at autoexpress.co.uk? Make sure you click the link in the description below and we'll run you through the process. What is the iX3 like to drive? Well, do you know what? It drives like a really well-sorted BMW. The steering is pretty light, but it is nice and accurate. And when you do build some speed, it does build some weight as well. So you've got a nice bit of confidence. It's also got a lovely balance. Now, early sort of electric SUVs I found could be a little uncomfortable because I felt like I was sitting too high above where the car would roll. This car feels really well integrated. It just kind of works, and it works effortlessly. But why I think this car just goes up above all of its main competition are the numbers. So this car's got around 112 kilowatt hours worth of batteries, which is a lot. But it'll do nearly 500 miles from a charge. Now, it is dependent on wheel size and spec, and so we're driving an M Sport car here on a 20 or a 21-inch wheel, so we're going to be doing more like 480, 475 miles on a charge, but that is still absolutely fantastic. Look, we can't really get our heads around what it's going to be doing on a day-to-day basis until we get the car in the UK. But fundamentally, at the moment, it seems to be doing pretty good efficiency-wise. We were getting about 3.3, 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, whilst sort of driving up and down relatively enthusiastically. It might sound like I've drunk the Kool-Aid a little bit, but believe me when I say, I'm rarely surprised and impressed this much by a car on a launch. It does everything it needs to brilliantly well. It is priced correctly, and it does the EV bit, which is range and efficiency, better than just about anything else in the class. And it's given us all this new tech, and all this new tech works. It's not hyperbole to say that this is the most important BMW in 20 years, because it genuinely feels it. And you know what? I'm also really excited to see what they have coming up next. Right, so what are my first impressions on the BMW iX3? Well, look, it was a really big call to say that this is the most important BMW for the last 20 years, but I tell you what, it has absolutely lived up to the hype. This car's fabulous numbers when it comes to range and efficiency, its brilliant interior, and the way that it drives all point towards this being an absolute star in the class, and it's got some pretty tough rivals to have to go up against. So, in general, this is a massive, massive step forward, not only for BMW, but for electric cars in general.